Yo, it's a sad day. After 28 years, Daft Punk, the French electronic band, they've broken up. They've called it quits. They've deactivated. They've shut it down. If by chance you didn't know, Daft Punk's a Parisian duo responsible for some of the most popular dance and pop songs ever made. So they put out an 8-minute video titled Epilogue, which was from their 2006 film, and their publicist said, Daft Punk is no more. Given no reason for the breakup, nobody knows why, they're just done. But it's been 28 years. So, I think that's a pretty good run. They look like robots, but it's really just two dudes. It's Thomas Bangalter and Guy Manuel de Homen Christo. They started Daft Punk in Paris around 1993. It was my freshman year of high school. So, I didn't get on with them right then. But I remember my first time seeing them. So you got to think back to 95, 96. MTV was still a thing. They played music videos. And so I would just stay up late and just it was nonstop music videos. Videos after videos after videos. And the later, the most popular stuff was during the day, TRL, prime time. And then as it got later, you'd start, the weird stuff would start coming out. And it was just really a challenge to see how late you could stay up and what cool stuff you might stumble upon. So I was sitting there, I was watching TV late at night, and this cartoon came on, this anime, and the Daft Punk music started, and that was it. I was done. I was in. It was, it had to be One More Time. Pretty sure it was One More Time. But then I found out there was a whole album of this cartoons, Interstellar 5555, whatever the hell it's called. I didn't know. But once I started there, man, it was over. I was on the Daft Punk train for life. So the animated video and the songs that accompanied it, I found out that was off of Discovery. So I picked that up immediately. And then I learned I was a little late. I was a little behind. There was an album before that. That's anytime I traveled, let me tell you, anytime I traveled, it was Daft Punk. Daft Punk in the ear. Daft Punk in the headphones. Daft Punk in the ear. Just let it go. Just play all of them that I got. Then, funny enough, I kind of fell off of Daft Punk and got into other French music, namely by the name of Phoenix. And I was like, yo, Phoenix is pretty dope. They got a lot of synth pianos and stuff. Come to find out, one of the dudes that used to work with Daft Punk left and formed Phoenix. So what was interesting with Daft Punk to me is I feel like not up until relatively recent of that 30-year span, they weren't ever gigantic. They weren't super huge. And I think they liked it that way. They came up with the little robot personas. Nobody really knows what they look like. Daft Punk could be sitting on my patio. I wouldn't really know it was them. Now they're not, people know who they are, but they're just not common. They're not regular faces. And they liked it. And they stayed out of the limelight. And they made their music and they left. And again, never became super duper huge popular. I was always a fan. Obviously, fans knew who they were. And then maybe, in my opinion at least, and I welcome what you guys think, when did Daft Punk become big and what was it that turned you onto them? So maybe Tron Legacy, when that came out and everyone was like, yo, Daft Punk's gonna do the soundtrack. I was so hyped because I love Tron, I love Daft Punk. It goes together. They're robots. You're in computers. It's the perfect thing. And it was. It was good. The movie maybe leaves a little to be desired. I probably should go back and rewatch it. But the soundtrack was dope. So then they finally, after some time, reached their pinnacle, man. They, Kanye sampled them. I don't even know would you call it a sample? What is that? Kanye used their song for Stronger. Kanye's big. So then that's when I really felt like they hit the general public. Everyone knew who they were. They were showing up in his videos, performing with him. And they finally kind of quote unquote made it, if you will. Then in my opinion, and I think the awards back it up, Get Lucky was probably their biggest hit with Pharrell. That came off of their last album, Random Access Memories. That was everywhere. It was gross. It was too much. As someone who likes Daft Punk, it was too much. And I love Pharrell. Pharrell's dope. Daft Punk's dope. Put them together, too much. Too much of a good thing, And it was a good song. It just was everywhere. And it kind of burnt me out a bit. And then they had another hit with The Weeknd. I really feel like once they peaked, or once they got big, like with a lot of producers, everyone wants a part of it. Everybody wants that sound. And in my opinion, only because it hasn't been released, why they were breaking up. But I kind of feel like they just got tired of it. You know, they became super big. You can't hide out anymore. You kind of have to be in the public eye. And if you don't want that, you know, it's tough. So they called it quits. That's not to say maybe one day they won't get back together. That'd be, you know, 10 years from now, they do a Daft Punk reunion. I'd be down for that. I never got to see him in person, which is kind of disappointing. Their music lives on forever. Now there's freaking YouTube everywhere. See, when I started telling the story, that didn't exist. That's why it was such a big deal. I just stumbled on him one night on TV. You couldn't just YouTube the video. You couldn't just go out and find the cartoon. I think people were buying it, Interstellar 5555 on like VHS, you know, on eBay or something from someone who taped it off of MTV. So it was a big deal, man. And now it's everywhere. So fortunately for everyone else, go check them out. If you're kind of younger and you're like, who is this Daft Punk? Go check out their stuff, man. It's timeless. If you like Daft Punk, might I also recommend Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk is a German band, kind of similar, and their electronicness much older. Kraftwerk actually has a huge influence on hip hop. Believe it or not, I always thought it was funny, some random German electronic band. But if you listen to some Kraftwerk, you'll probably notice some samples. And then because of Daft Punk, I kind of got into Justice, which is another electronic band type thing. Very similar to Daft Punk, if you ask me. I think heavily inspired by. So check them out. And of course, the, you know, menagerie of other digital music out there. That's just a couple things I picked up. I felt like I had to say something about Daft Punk, one of my favorite bands. I wouldn't say I've been with them from the start, but definitely a long time of those 28 years. They were cool because they would kind of come and go. They'd come, they'd do something, it'd be dope, then they'd disappear. You kind of sit around and hope and wait for something new. But I'm not sad. Let's celebrate them that they did, you know, go on for almost 30 years making music, and music that's since been sampled and influences other bands. So it's not a sad day. It's a celebration, I guess. Matter of fact, I'll put some links below. Go listen to, watch some of their videos and listen to some of their hits. So, y'all, until next time, do your best to be your best, and I will see you then.